have an intent. They're not just floating by and we just wanted to take a peek or, or take some samples and head out. That might reflect more the ancient forms of contact that have occurred, which I do not feel are with the same set of entities that we're making contact with now. So this intent to study at a programmatic level, I think that's established. The intent to interact not just with human authority, but with human individual, species members, us, that's also very established. I think the neurological, the intent, first, capability to affect human beings neurologically very powerfully established, and also the intent to use that in a way that contravenes sovereignty of mind and really overtakes people and produces a very traumatic experience for them as well. It's very difficult to integrate and that actually has caused a lot of human suffering. I think that's also established. Now, the data points keep going and maybe some of them are less, we have less confidence in them as we go down that kind of long tail. It's kind of like that long tail curve of evidence. But I think all of it comes to indicate that first off, these entities are not from here. They can go 80,000 feet in a second, right? They can travel at Mach levels beyond like a factor or an exponential level beyond what we can do. I mean, these are not speeds that would be needed if you lived on the Earth, under the Earth, on Mars. So I think there's evidence that the speeds and the capabilities they have indicate interstellar capabilities. Second, I think they're physical. I'm sorry, and a lot of people want to kind of like live in that anomalous phenomena, not unidentified flying object. And I know that term or that acronym was redefined in part to make it easier for government to disclose this, because they can disclose UAP, and that does not mean they disclosed UFO, right? So phenomenon is not object. Anomalous is not flying. I think what it's also done, unfortunately, is it's pitched us back into everything that might be possible that's anomalous. And there are capabilities of the NHI which might make us think they have non-physical technology to move in non-physical, non-physics-based ways, aka interdimensionally. There is this psychological force that they can generate, which might take on almost like an apparition or like a non-human visitation. So there are all these aspects to their capabilities, but that does not necessarily mean that the being, their nature and being, is outside of our physical dimension. So I think back to my working conclusion, this is species-to-species interaction in a universe that represents nature. And we have to treat it first at that level, not because I or we know it's true without a doubt, or that there aren't other possibilities, but because it's responsible given the imbalance of capability being demonstrated by these visitors and the vulnerabilities of our human species, being highly divided, highly distracted, and having really no secure barrier between the surface of the world and space. So we're in a disadvantageous position, and so I think it behooves us to think cautiously. I'm not saying to think like it's the worst, but I think thinking of this as a physical phenomenon with implications for us physically that warrants caution and also species protection, I think is really important to start with.